Let's talk about Eren Yeager. He's easily one of the most complex and, let's be honest, controversial characters in recent memory. And for years, we've all been wrestling with the same huge question. Was he a hero, a freedom fighter for his people? Or was he a monster, a mass murderer who committed an unimaginable crime?
And I mean, this right here just perfectly sums up the problem, doesn't it? Both of these quotes are from him. One is this desperate, understandable cry for the basic right to exist, and the other, it's a command for complete and total annihilation. How can those two things come from the same person?
So, that's what we're going to try and figure out. Who is the real Eren Yeager? We're going to dig into his journey, his philosophy, and the choices that led him down his path, to see if we can understand the man behind the monster, or maybe the monster that was always inside the man.
To even begin to understand Eren, you have to start with the one thing about him that never, ever wavered. And that's his absolute, all-consuming desire for freedom. It was the engine driving him from day one. Just listen to the absolute conviction in that. This isn't him trying to make excuses after the fact. No, this is his core belief system. He believes with every fiber of his being that his will is his own, and that gives him the ultimate right to act.
And here's that philosophy, broken down into its terrifyingly simple logic. It all starts with a simple statement: I exist. But look how fast it escalates. It goes from existence to this brutal, preemptive doctrine. And the scariest part? He says this wasn't something he learned. He was born this way.
For years, the fight seemed so simple, you know? It was humanity versus the Titans, black and white. But then, they finally reached the cellar, and what they found down there just shattered everything, sending Eren down a path that was so much darker.
This one question really marks the major turning point. Suddenly, the enemy wasn't some mindless giant. The enemy was the entire world. And that glimmer of hope for a simple victory, it was replaced by the crushing weight of a war that was endless, a war they had inherited.
Because what they found was that their struggle was just one tiny chapter in a huge, ancient story of conflict. They were born into this cycle of hatred, carrying the weight of a history they never made. They weren't just fighting for their lives anymore. They were trapped in a curse.
And this is the key realization he has. Just fighting back, winning a few battles here and there. It was never going to be enough. The world's hatred for them was so deep that it felt like a dead end. Without some drastic, world-breaking change, the tragedy of his people would just happen again and again, forever.
So, faced with this impossible situation, Eren makes an impossible choice. He decides that if the world sees them as devils, well, then he would become the biggest devil of them all.
There's no trying to spin it, is there? He just fully accepts the role of the villain. He's not fooling himself. He is making a conscious, deliberate choice to become the monster that everyone already thought he was.
And this is his solution, the rumbling. It's an act of self-defense taken to such an extreme that it becomes global genocide. The scale is it's mind-boggling, using an army of colossal titans to literally wipe the slate clean.
In his head, this was the only logic that mattered. The world had already sentenced his people to death, right? So, to save them, he just redefines the word humanity to mean only the people of Paradios. It's a truly chilling rationalization, but from his point of view, it's consistent.
But just when you think you've got him figured out, just when you're ready to write him off as a cold-blooded monster, there's one last, very complicated piece to this whole puzzle: his deep, unwavering love for his friends.
You know, even the people closest to him were just left spinning, questioning everything they ever knew about him. You can hear the confusion in his friends' thoughts. How could this person they loved, this person they looked up to, be this monster? What did they miss?
And then there's this. This is the heart of the whole enigma, right here. At the absolute peak of his monstrous plan, he says something so gentle, so full of genuine love. All he wants is for his friends to be happy and to live long, peaceful lives.
So here it is, laid bare. His mission, total global destruction. His wish, the safety and happiness of the few people he cares about. And somehow, in his mind, he believed that he had to do the first horrible thing to guarantee the second.
And in a moment of pure vulnerability, he asks this. For just a second, the monster is gone, and you see the boy underneath it all, just pleading for a connection, searching for an answer that maybe, just maybe, could have shown him a different way. It's a powerful reminder that he was still human.
And finally, you have to wonder about this. Was he really free, like he always claimed to be?
Or was he just a slave to a future he saw but couldn't change? This idea of fate adds a whole new layer of tragedy to it all. The one man who fought harder than anyone for freedom might never have had any choice at all.
So, this is where we're left. He committed one of the worst acts imaginable, and he did it all to protect the people he loved. Now that doesn't excuse it, not at all, but it makes it so much more complicated, and it leaves us with that final, impossible question to answer for ourselves.